the New York Mets, they get their man and the guy who wanted to play with his friend Francisco Lindor. So Javier Baez, the latest of the Chicago Cub fire sale. And this is a great move for the New York Mets. Probably one of the better moves on this deadline day. And in my opinion, they didn't give up much. I know Baez is a free agent after the season. But Baez, he wanted to play for the Mets. And it's on record, him saying, yeah, I want to play second base with this team when Francisco Lindor comes back. And we'll see if Baez does good here in New York. I think he's a guy that likes the pressure. A guy who obviously has had big hits and won a championship in his career. So the Mets, they get a gritty player in Javier Baez. And also they get Trevor Williams as well. But I don't think Williams will do much for this Met team. It's been a struggle for him this season. But you can't have enough starting pitching depth. And that's exactly the case with Trevor Williams. And the Mets, they give up one of their better prospects. But he's only 19 years old in Pete Crow Armstrong, and I don't have a problem with that from a Mets perspective. So Javier Baez on the season, another solid year, no doubt about it. 22 home runs, 65 RBIs, 48 runs scored, 13 stolen bases, a 248 average, and a 292 on base. So the only downside for Baez is obviously he's a guy, it's hit or miss for him. He's either going to hit the ball 450 feet or he's going to strike out a lot with 131 on the season in 335 at-bats, and he don't draw many walks, obviously with only a 292 on base with a 248 batting average. But right here, he wanted to be a Met, and this is good to see. The Mets going out there under new ownership and making a big move at the deadline instead of some small moves that aren't going to make an impact. And the Mets, they needed to make moves. Their offense has been struggling in a big way this season. And Javier Baez, he's definitely a guy that you could plug right in there, second, third, or shortstop, wherever you're going to play him. And he's going to hit for power. He's going to try hard on defense. And he's already their best power hitter besides Pete Alonso. Right here, him and Alonso both with 22 home runs this season. So right here, he's probably going to be their second best hitter. And hopefully he re-signs with the New York Mets when it's all said and done. But it might come down to him or Michael Conforto, who they're going to re-sign. And obviously, I'd rather have Javier Baez than Conforto. And Javier Baez, this is going to help his fantasy value more, I think. They're going to play in smaller ballparks of the Mets. And he's hungry to win that title once again. And the Mets definitely have a shot, but they need hitting in a bad way. This is the boost the Mets need here in getting Baez. So I like the deal a lot. And as far as Trevor Williams go, we'll see if the Mets use him as a middle reliever or fourth or fifth starter. Carlos Carrasco, he just came back from the injured list after all season. He was out with an injury, which was a tough break for him. Jacob deGrom now, he's been pushed back and shut down for 2 weeks after having a setback, warming up and throwing some bullpen. And you also got guys like Tajon Walker and Stroman who've definitely hit the wall and struggled over the last month. Then you got Tyler McGill over there. Noah Syndergaard, you can't count on him. So Trevor Williams, he might be the fifth starter in this rotation with all the injuries and the uncertainty in this New York Met roster. But Trevor Williams, he's definitely a guy I'm not going to trust in fantasy baseball. And he's just a guy that's going to be a back-end arm to try to eat innings for this New York Met team. But hey, maybe he could turn things around, but I doubt it with this Met team. On the season, 4-2 record, 61 strikeouts, a 5.06 ERA, and a 1.53 whip with only 3 quality starts on the season. Even though the last couple weeks, Williams has pitched a little better, 11 1/3, 1-0 record, 9 Ks, 3.18 ERA, and a 1.15 whip with a quality start. So Trevor Williams, we'll see if he has any value with the Mets, but I highly doubt it for fantasy baseball. But he definitely could be a good back of the rotation guy, like I mentioned, as a starter. So Javier Baez, his wish comes true, and he gets traded to the New York Mets, and they pull the trigger and make one of their biggest trade deadline deals since they got Yoenis Cespedes, who led them to the World Series that year, him and Daniel Murphy. But obviously they fell short to the Royals, and we'll see if Javier Baez could have the same type of impact for the rest of the 2021 season with his new team.